Good morning, good afternoon, and good day. And what a great lineup of information and sharing about business. Anyway, so this broadcast is about passive income. And apparently, I'm supposed to be the king of passive income. So much that my good friend Rodney Payton, created a series on passive income and how to make tons of money from it. And I'm actually in this, sharing about some of the passive income strategies that I had to get where I am today, to be the phenomenal guy that I am. So in this nice little CD set, it's not really a CD, it's a thing. And here you can see some little pictures of us, and it's like a credit card, and you just plug it in, and then you can hear some of this stuff. So Rodney Payton, guys, just Google it. Maybe you can get one of these, or if you like me, you can get it complimentary. And he asked me about some of the different strategies that you can make passive income from. So what is passive income? Well, passive income is when you set up a system and then you can just leave it to go run, and then you just make money while you're sleeping. So some of those passive income strategies that I used in my early days was writing exercise manuals for companies. And what would happen, so this one is for Learning Tree International, and what would happen is that this is an exercise manual. Every time they sold a course, and they used to sell courses to training courses, 20, 30 people were in the room, I would get an income from the sales of those manuals because I wrote them. So they didn't pay me a huge amount up front to write them, but I got a passive income over time, every time those courses were run. Fantastic. Yes, I know. The second passive income strategy that I was good at, now I'm looking for my hammer. Here it is. Yes. So I saved up lots of money and I bought houses. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. Yes. So I bought several houses and rented them out. This isn't a house. This is a TARDIS, which is bigger on the inside than on the outside, and rented them out to students, actually. So rented those out, and now, of course, the rent comes in over time while I'm sleeping. Yeah. The other thing I did was, I was supposed to show some of my acting vouchers. I was in films and television, and then every time the broadcast was repeated, a check. Yes, that's right. A check would come through the door, and I'd get some money for a repeat of the product, or when they franchise it out to Australia or another country, I would get checks every time and the film or the TV program was played. So that was fantastic. That was 3 great strategies that worked for me. There were some others that didn't quite work for me. So network marketing was one of them. That was terrible because I would. So network marketing, what happens is you have a product, like say my social magnetism books. For example, I might have people who sold them for me, and I would give them a commission, and they might recruit other people who would sell them, and I would give them both a commission, depending on how much was sold. So that was passive income. Now that was a terrible strategy for me because I was always like really concerned for my we call them downline, these people that we recruit. I was always concerned if they didn't make any money, so I would do all the work for them, and then I get like overloaded. So that was bad for me. Intellectual property for music and books. So you can see Social Magnetism book behind me. That hand, there you go. Social Magnetism book behind me. So again, you can get royalties from books and music and films. There you go. Lots of ways to get passive income. Now, I have to say, you can have all these passive income strategies. And my goal was to be like retired by mid-30s. by having lots of these strategies. And what I did is I wanted to be retired. So in those days, $1 million was good. So I had looked at $1 million and I broke it down into how much I needed to make per year, per month, per week, per day, per hour, per minute. Very simple way to do it. Oh, another one was to invest in a pension, because if you put X amount every month, compound interest, and plus the government gives us doesn't take the taxes on that amount, you could also be financially free. Didn't know that, did you? Through your pension. Okay. The pension, by the way, was a terrible strategy, because my finance guy said, actually, we should have followed your other strategies. So I had all of these things making me money over time. But you know what? You have problems with each one of them. So at the moment, today, one of the things I've been going through is going to the letting agents. Now, the letting agents rent out my properties, and there's been a discrepancy because my bank account is minus. And I'm thinking, why on earth is my bank account minus? I'm having to prop up my properties. So there's a disaster there. Yes, I know. Everybody has disasters. And so I had to go through the accounts, and they've had some problems with their bank systems and so on. Now, the reason I can rescue myself is I did have a little bit of active income. Yes. And this is something you need to have. You need to be on just watching what's going into your account. And the second thing is you need to keep updating. So remember, I got off the plane and there were some problems with the properties. So normally I have a cleaning company clean the rooms and stuff, but this was a special case. So I had to get involved. Sometimes I have to get involved with DIY when the DIY guys aren't around and you have a disaster. Yes, I even know how to fix boilers. Didn't know that, did you? Even with the course materials. So this one here is, this one's called SMS. This is Microsoft Systems Management Server. Who cares what it is? But, you know, Microsoft changes the product and keeps updating it and changing the name. So, in fact, for that particular product, I was on stage for Microsoft ages ago, and I spoke to 10 or 12,000 engineers, and the product was called something totally different in those days. So I have to, even though I was getting passive income from the manuals, every so often I still have to work, yes, I do, and to update it to the latest version of the product. So it doesn't matter what you're in. And we see this even with music. We see that a song comes out, and then somebody thinks, hey, I could mix that song with rap, or I could have more modern instruments in there. And they update the music. And so they make even more money, more passive income. But you have to do the work. You always have to do the work. And while I'm writing these manuals, I'm not getting income. So I have to be out there working. Sorry, the job is good. Whoever told you jobs is you in the rat race was wrong. Yeah, they're really wrong. They're mice. Yeah. So there is no such thing as a rat race. There is just fantastic jobs that help educate you to get some of the understanding you need to know if you want to be an entrepreneur in how to sell, how to brand yourself, how to market, how to run an accounts department, because you have to do everything if you're an entrepreneur initially, unless you save up lots of money and then you outsource it. So these are some things that you do. Now, it doesn't matter, because this is kind of supposed to be a property day. It doesn't matter whether you rent your properties out through a letting agent or Airbnb. And in this country, we are only allowed to use 90 days. We do have other ways of letting flats out, but you still have to manage it. Now, for example, some of our serviced accommodation, we found that the cleaners forgot to do something. Yes, they did. And there was a disaster because in the dishwasher was all these kind of plates and things that hadn't been washed. It was really smelly. And of course, the new tenants coming in the serviced accommodation said, what? Yeah. And of course we get it because the cleaners hadn't done it. There was washing in the washing machine. The sheets hadn't been properly washed and dried out. So again, you have that active management, if you like, which is what my good friend Rodney's system is about, active management. And you always want to have some kind of active income from a job, from a contract, to help you go through it. Now, there is, apart from that active management and active income, something that a lot of property investors and people who are doing online stuff, which is a great way to earn passive income, something I'm doing at the moment, is that you're always looking, or you're given the big deal. I've been given so many big deals where I could earn like $1 million in a year. They said it wasn't fair. He made $1 million in the year. And they very rarely happen. So don't get seduced. Hello. Never get seduced. Build your passive income slowly. That means you have to go and stay in your job, or you have to still do a contract. If we read many of the books of people who've got a lot of passive income, say the Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy, Kiyosaki, you'll see that while he was building his passive income, he was still teaching at night. He and his wife, and they slept in the car and read the book. They were still doing work, and you've got to do that. And never rely on a big deal, because most of you won't get it. Why won't you get it? How do I know? Well, I'm not going to get it, because I know that many of these big deals, they although it's released for that, you have to be like someone they like, a good friend, or you have to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody for you to get those deals. I promise you. Now, you may say, oh, my friend Johnny or my lady, she got this big deal, blah, 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 blah. She didn't even know anybody. They just found them because of their branding, and suddenly they were a multimillionaire. Yes. Good. Those are rare people. Very rare. If you think about it, why shouldn't everybody release a social platform like Facebook? Surely you could all make as much money as Facebook. You can't do that. There's only one person gets it. Didn't think about that, did you? So only one person can get the big deal. And although we always have a few, if you like, quotations for some of these big deals, we spend our time building our little chunks. We stay with the plan. My good friend and business partner, Keely, when I'm going off at a tangent and thinking, yes, but we've been offered this 40 million property and we can do this and this. She says, but Ben, you told me that you wanted us to build this amount of income for the year. That's the goal. Yes, I did say that, Keely. Yes, so what do you want me to do? Do you want to divert my attention to this big deal, or shall I carry on building the business? And of course, the answer is always carry on building the business. Never get seduced by the big deal. Really don't. Or the 2 or 3 deals. I remember running a tech company for my good friend Chris. Brilliant company, wonderful guy. And he would come up to me with some great new ventures, like, hey, Ben, my friend, he has got all this aluminium. We can make all this money out of aluminium. And I would look at him and I'd say, yes, you can do that. You've given me this task. So I was the Keely in that business. You've given me this task to take your business to this level. So I'm sticking on that track. This is what we do. We're good at cloud services. We're good at migrating people's technology. We're good at XYZ, securing their business. You can do all of that stuff. I am not going to get distracted into your big deals. And here's the problem with the big deal. You see, you have to create your branding material, your marketing material. You have to learn the product. So even though you have this big office in property that you could do, you're going to have to learn all over again, everything from scratch. Now, during that 6 months or a year that it takes for you to learn up here, and by the way, you haven't learned the trench stuff, that's why it takes 5 years. While you get distracted with all this big stuff, your business, which builds you your money little bit by little bit, gets messed up. Really, it does. And this is another thing that I get concerned about. When entrepreneurs, they've had a good month, they've made a lot of money, and they think, yes, made a lot of money, gonna go on a holiday for 2 weeks, a month, for 3 years. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, because they've only been in their business for, say, 2 years, and suddenly they get a good month. It really does take 5 years. This is your sacrifice. Does this mean you can't have fun? No. Of course you can have fun. You just can't spend so much money and so much time on having that fun until you reach your 5 or 6 or 7 years, until you reach that financial goal where you have enough money in the bank to take 6 months off. There you go. So, passive income isn't really passive. You have disasters. Currently in the property market, potentially we've got a disaster in the UK with Brexit and so on. So at the moment, property prices have been going down. People who buy and sell are being hurt left, right, and center. Yeah. People who have got rental properties are doing much better. Yes, they are. And because the rental market, because of various things, so for example, if because of Brexit we have less jobs in here, more people are going to want to rent, so that's great. And if Brexit doesn't happen, because nobody knows, if it really doesn't happen, then we'll have an influx of people coming back to this great country that we have, and so rental will still be high. So that's a better way of building your income. Whereas buying and selling, you're like hurt by whatever happens in the market. I remember my Swiss friend Ike. She's got this great property site, and I was sharing education. And this guy, I don't know, he had properties in Bristol, and he sells properties. He was getting very angry with me when I'm saying, look, property prices are going down in the UK. Don't buy unless it's substantially below market value, because if you're buying and selling, are going to lose money. Yes. Anyway, so he started attacking me. I just blocked him, really. You can block people. Yeah, so you're active, even though I've got a passive income of a lot of students. They found in this country at the moment, because of Brexit, there has been issues, and the universities have been building their big pods for students. So hardly any properties get sold in my area, and I've noticed a lot of properties on the market. Today I spent some time with the estate agent that I bought quite a few properties from, and they're finding that property prices also been going down, and a lot of landlords, for a variety of reasons, not just because the universities are building their big pods, that happens all the time, but because of Brexit, because of changes in the laws in the UK, they've been selling off parts of their portfolio. So just be aware of that. Well, I hope, guys, that that's useful information, that your passive income needs to be protected, and sometimes you need to diversify into other areas. I have equity as well, which a certain kind of equity, by the way, which pays dividends and it reinvests it into the equity. As well as my property. I'm getting back into my online and my manuals, yay, to increase my passive income there. It means I have to do a bit of active income, but so what? Yeah, you don't want to be on holiday all the time. The guy who did the 4-hour week, he actually finally, after a couple of years, got bored. He said, I could be adding more value to people. What's the point of this? And I know a lot of people who've been retired, yeah, they die pretty soon. I know that sounds terrible, but they die pretty soon when they're not working. So please enjoy your work. It helps you live long and prosper. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. I will be doing another broadcast very soon on one of my other channels because a lot of people are being bullied, and two of my friends have been laid off because of bullying in the American school we have in the UK. And I just hate bullying. I hate to see it. I went to represent them and they threw me out before I could even get into the room to help them out. So this is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of business, saying goodbye. Thank you for tuning in, and please do comment below and share any of this stuff if you find it useful. Bye.